Okay, welcome. This is a vlog, me talking about my survival and recovery from being in a relationship with a woman who had quiet borderline personality disorder. She doesn't know that. She hasn't accepted her diagnosis. That's my diagnosis based on all the research I had to do to figure out what the heck was going on with this relationship that was making me crazy and really causing me a lot of damage, and I was really confused what was going on. I am convinced that was going on. And I have survived it, and I'm no longer in that relationship. God willing, and the creek don't rise. I won't get sucked back in. All right, so the biggest mistake that you can do with a borderline, let me just say, I'm not anti-borderline. I have my own psychological issues, and so there's all kinds of, and there is targeted therapy for borderline personality disorder, and from what I understand, there is a lot of recovery, and people with borderline can completely recover, have full healthy lives, have jobs, have relationships, families, and some people can be completely recovered, cured from it. So if you have borderline, it's just that simple. All you got to do is just go get treatment. You don't have to suffer and be in all these crazy relationships and defend yourself against people who are telling you you need therapy, and you don't have to do that. Just go get help. You'll make yourself feel better, and everybody else around you will feel better. And it might be challenging, but what the hell, just go do it. So here's the worst thing you can do with a borderline. The biggest mistake you can do with a borderline is try and express your feelings and try and have a rational conversation with them, trying to help them understand their behavior. Worst mistake you can make. Why is that? Now, I guess all borderlines are different. I was with one who was extremely high functioning and extremely intelligent, but an untreated borderline does not have full awareness of themselves or their unconscious, but they can talk a really good game. When they're hoovering you back in and you're trying to tell them all the things that they did that was hurtful, that you want them to do differently, they can look you in the face and acknowledge it and communicate it and even go deep and pull out the things that they've done and analyze them in front of you and make you think that they understand what they did and that they are going to change. It will not happen. You might have a little bit of success, but eventually, whatever changes they said they were going to do, they will reverse them. Guaranteed. And they will do it without any guilt. They will do it without batting an eye. And they will tell you it's your fault without batting an eye. And that is because whatever awareness that you think you're getting from them when you're trying to talk to them and get them to understand is not true awareness at all. It is extremely superficial. At best, it is intellectual and not emotional. They are highly complex, well-defended people who have a serious emotional and mental disorder, which means that they're constantly in a state of dysregulation unconsciously. On an unconscious level, they are living in a hell. So in order to function, they have learned how to intellectualize things and stay on an intellectual level, and they are capable of making you think that they understand what you're saying, and they will even volunteer things in the conversation that make you think that you are convincing them and that they understand, but it is just an interface. It's just like a program that they run. It's not connected to their innermost selves. It's not connected to their emotional sense of self. It is purely just an interface. They may believe it when they say it. They may even believe it when they apologize and say, I'm really sorry. In fact, look to see if there's kind of a sociopathic disconnect when they're apologizing. That's one thing I noticed about the girl I was with. She would apologize and she would say, yeah, God, things like this, like, God, yeah, that's awful. Yeah, I'm so sorry that I did that to you. I can see, and then you'd say, yeah, because that would make you feel like this and that. And I'm so sorry I did that. And one point she said, I'm sorry that I'm not bringing up enough emotions. It's just, I don't want to bring it all up because it's so hard for me to look at. Now, there might be some truth to that, but I also believe that there was a sociopathic disconnect. She really didn't feel all that sorry because she doesn't understand. They don't understand the consequences of their actions. They don't have any real responsibility, and they don't have any accountability. Look at your relationship with them. Have they ever truly changed and stayed changed? No. It's always temporary. It's never permanent. So, worst thing you can do is try and negotiate with them, talk with them, convince them, try and intellectually communicate, how to change the relationship, because you're doing it from the assumption that you're dealing with a fully functional person. You're not. A fully functional person, what I mean by that is somebody who's non-borderline, listens to what you say and can implant it in their identity, which borderlines don't have, and then they can take action on that in the future. So when somebody else says, okay, you know what, you're right, I did this and that came from my issues, I'm going to work on that, and in the future what I'll do is I'll do this instead, because they can tolerate their uncomfortable feelings. So in the future when that happens and they want to do their normal thing, because they've made the commitment to do thus and such, they can tolerate all the negative feelings and the resistance to that, because they have a sense of self that will propel them forward to take actions even though they're not comfortable. The borderline cannot do anything that makes them uncomfortable. They can only do what makes them comfortable in the moment. So whatever it is that they're doing in the moment that is really wonderful, the beautiful sex, the beautiful this, the communication, the this and that won't exist in 10 minutes if they have a different feeling, and it won't exist tomorrow if they get scared, okay? Or if they get triggered. So don't waste your time. Here's the thing. You want to be with a borderline? Here's my suggestion. I tried doing it. It didn't end up working. And that's because I couldn't deny my own human emotional reality. I just couldn't hold on to it. But, if you want to be with a borderline, you have to treat them like a weather event. I'm a surfer. So I can't go surfing if it's windy. I can't go surfing if it's dark. I can't go surfing some places depending on what the tide is, if the tide's too high or too low. I can't go surfing if there isn't any waves. But when it all lines up and it's perfect, grab your board and go, because you don't know how long the conditions are going to be favorable. And go out there and surf as many waves as you can until you're wiped out, and then go home and rest and wake up tomorrow and see if the waves or the conditions are there for you. Because that's what it's like to be with a borderline. A borderline is a weather event. And you have no idea what they're going to be like, and you cannot predict them. And if the conditions aren't there, if the weather conditions aren't favorable to your interaction with them, it won't be. So just because things were good today doesn't mean you're going to be able to go surfing tomorrow. And if you can do that without any expectation and just treat them like a weather event, then you'll be able to stay. But my prediction is that won't work. First reason is because you won't be able to be with them. You can tell yourself, I'm just going to be friends, or we're just going to be fuck buddies or whatever. But the truth is that you will get emotionally attached. And the reason for that is, here's the second reason, they're going to know. They're so intuitive, they're going to know exactly where you're coming from and exactly why you're there. And if they can't feel from you that you are just goo-goo over them, they will lose interest in you like that. They only want to be with people who love them and make them feel amazing. And if they think that you're using them and that you're not fully there and you're pretending, they will call you on it and toss you out the door. Okay, so try it. I tried. I couldn't do it because I was in denial, and she knew it, and so she kept me around. But once I laid down the boundaries, she tossed me aside in the worst way possible. So anyway, that's the worst mistake. Don't try and negotiate or convince them about anything, because it's a waste of time. Okay? Get out. It's the only thing. If they don't go to therapy, again, here's the kindest thing you can tell a borderline. The kindest thing you can do if you love them is to say to them, I love you. The dynamic of our relationship is too unhealthy for me. This isn't your problem, it's mine. I have to leave and I can't have any contact with you. If you decide to get therapy for your borderline issues, please give me a call. I would love to hear from you. More than likely, you'll never hear from them again. But that is the kindest thing you can do. All right, there it is.